Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something moving incredibly fast. AI, its integration everywhere globally. And that speed, well, it raises some really big questions about safety, ethics, how we actually govern it. So today we're exploring a really ambitious and I think incredibly important document, India's AI governance framework. And this isn't just another set of rules, it's about trying to shape a future where AI genuinely helps people across a nation with just immense scale and diversity. Our source for this is a pretty comprehensive white paper. It was prepared for the National Cyber and AI Center, that's NCAIC, India's key body for cyber and AI strategy, and it just came out this September 2025. So our mission for you today, it's really to unpack how India, which the paper says is at a critical inflection point in AI, is building out this detailed, risk-based framework. The goal is unlocking AI's potential, sure, but also safeguarding, 1.4 billion citizens. We'll look at the key parts, the unique challenges, and the actual steps being taken. Okay, let's unpack this. The white paper highlights India's AI journey is at a critical inflection point.
What exactly does that mean? What makes this moment so, critical for India's AI landscape?
Well, what's really striking is the sheer speed of AI deployment there. You've got systems being rolled out incredibly quickly across critical national infrastructure. Think platforms, even agricultural decision support.
Wow. Okay, so it's really embedded.
Deeply. And the challenge is that the development of, let's say, adequate control mechanisms, the governance, it's seriously lagging behind this growth. And this isn't just, a theoretical risk. We're talking about potential failures that could genuinely harm people at what the paper calls population scale.
Population scale.
Oh.
Yeah, that really drives home the stakes.
Exactly. And that kind of failure, or even the fear of it, can seriously erode public trust in AI altogether.
That makes sense. So how does this new AI framework connect with or maybe build upon India's existing digital laws? I'm thinking of things like the Data Protection and Digital Privacy Act, the DPDP Act, and maybe certain directions.
That's a great question, and it shows, I think, some real strategic thinking in the framework. The DPDP Act, for example, it really elevates principles like consent, limiting purpose, fiduciary duties for data.
Oh, okay.
So this AI framework insists that AI systems have to operationalize these principles right from the design stage. It's about embedding privacy and data protection by design, not as an afterthought.
Right, baked in from the start.
Precisely. And similarly, that's India's computer emergency response team, their requirements for, say, 6-hour incident reporting and robust supply chain oversight. Those directly impact how AI model security and ongoing operations have to be managed.
So it fits into that existing security structure.
It does. And what's really interesting is that India isn't just looking inwards here. By adopting international standards like ISO 42001, that's the AI Management System Standard, and the NIST AI RMF from the US.
Okay, aligning globally.
Yes, they're deliberately positioning themselves for what the paper calls global competitiveness. It's about building trust internationally and, opening doors for Indian AI solutions in global markets.
So it's both domestic regulation and global ambition. And you mentioned the urgency. It's not just a future thing, is it? The paper points to immediate challenges like election integrity, deep fakes.
Absolutely. Things like deep fakes proliferating, potentially influencing elections. These aren't far-off threats. They make having a robust framework critical right now. It demands a clear plan of action.
Okay, so given those high stakes, this critical moment, and just the sheer complexity of India, how do you actually build this kind of framework? The white paper calls it an actionable, risk-based AI governance framework. What are the sort of core building blocks?
It really is quite comprehensive. It's built on 4 main pillars. First, there's a risk classification system. This gives everyone a common language to talk about AI risk categorizing uses as maybe prohibited, high risk, or low risk.
A shared understanding.
Exactly. Then second, you have lifecycle controls. This is a whole set of controls covering everything from data, the model itself, the application layer, and operations. The key here is engineering security, privacy, safety by design.
Not bolted on later.
Right. Third is an assurance system. This means comprehensive audits, evaluations, attestations, and importantly, mapping these to those global standards we mentioned, like ISO 42001 and NIST AI RMF.
Building that trust element again.
Definitely. And finally, there are practical implementation roadmaps. These lay out detailed plans, 100-day, 12-month, 24-month targets to really accelerate adoption across different sectors.
That sounds very structured. But here's where it gets really interesting for me. The framework is apparently built on 8 foundational principles that reflect India's constitutional values. What does that actually mean in practice, grounding AI in constitutional values in India? Which principles really stand out?
Grounding it in constitutional values is, I think, hugely significant for a country like India. It signals that this isn't just a technical checklist, it's a commitment, really, a societal commitment to making sure AI upholds the dignity, rights, and welfare of every single citizen.
Just value-driven.
Deeply. Now, all 8 principles are important things like accountability, transparency, security, they're all there. But maybe 3 really capture India's specific vision and context. First, the human-centric approach.
Okay.
And this isn't just vague human-in-the-loop stuff. It mandates actual human oversight for decisions with significant consequences. It requires meaningful ways for people to opt out and accessible ways to appeal AI decisions that affect them.
Making oversight practical, not just policy.
Exactly, especially in India's complex administrative reality. Second, inclusivity and fairness. Given India's incredible diversity, this is absolutely critical. It demands thorough bias testing across demographics, languages, cultural context to ensure fair outcomes and representation.
Actively fighting bias.
Yes, proactively trying to prevent AI from disadvantaging certain communities. And third, privacy by design. This ties directly back to the DPDP Act. It's about embedding consent, purpose limitation, data minimization, right through the AI lifecycle.
Making privacy automatic.
Kind of. The key insight is practical. In a data-rich nation like India, with digital adoption booming, scaling privacy effectively means baking it into the tech from the start. It shifts the burden somewhat from the individual user, who might not be digitally savvy, onto the system itself. Robust safeguards by default.
That seems like a very considered approach, really thinking about the realities on the ground. Okay, so moving from principles to practice, how do organizations actually classify AI risk? What kinds of things fall into that prohibited category?
Yeah, the prohibited AI systems category draws a very clear, very firm line. These are uses that are banned outright, regardless of any technical safeguards.